Morning, good afternoon. I never quite know what to lead with here with these summer webinars since so many of you are all over the world and in different time zones. I'll go with good afternoon because it's afternoon in my time zone. But welcome to the last week of our summer webinar series, and I hope it's been enjoyable and informative for most of you. And I've seen a lot of repeat customers throughout the entire time. Some of you have just picked a single webinar, but we've had a lot of people who have attended most or all of them. So let me know, give me some feedback in terms of how you found this. We'd like to repeat this in the fall. We'd like to turn a lot of these into screencasts so that you can self-serve in your own time and in smaller chunks so that you can look at just the piece that you're interested in. So we have a lot of plans for this material and how to revisit it and how to make it available to you on an ongoing basis, and then maybe open up webinars to some more of the advanced topics that we've only just skimmed or touched on as part of these intro webinars. But today's webinar is Marketing Promotions Magento style. So let's go ahead and get going on this. My name is Kara Heinrichs. I head up the Education, Training, and Certification work over here at Magento. And this summer webinar series is just the beginning of all of that. So watch for more good things. What we're going to be covering today in Marketing Promotions is how Magento helps enable you to do some of the marketing promotional activities that you want to be able to do as a merchant with an online store. I'm not going to do marketing 101, marketing best practices, how to best craft your marketing campaigns, things like that. That's a different topic. That's a wider topic. What I want to do, at least, is to show you Magento's capabilities in these areas that are most commonly used by our merchants, so that you know how to. You know what you want to do. Now you need to know how to make Magento help you do that. So those are the things that I want to focus on today. What we'll look at is promotions and discounts in Magento and how you can support that. That's probably the question I get most often in the marketing arena. And then the next piece is making landing pages to support a marketing campaign. If you have AdWords running or if you have a promotional email going out, you want particular landing pages as destination points for those particular campaigns. There are a couple different ways that you can do that inside of Magento depending on what you're trying to achieve. So I'd like to be able to show you some options for getting that done. And then some of the SEO tools in Magento. It's kind of a passive form of marketing, but it's by far and away one of the most common tools that we rely on as merchants in the online world to draw people to our website. So what I found when I've worked with merchants is that there's everybody sees a few of the SEO capabilities. Very few people really realize the range of them. So just we won't actually do it in demo format, but I want to show you where some of the screens are and what the things are that you can do so that you know those and you have them available. There are a couple topics that we're not going to be able to touch on today just because of the time, but at the end of the presentation I'll give you some links to some good articles on working with newsletters in Magento and on integrating Magento with Google Base. And then there are a variety of other marketing articles up on both the wiki and on the knowledge base on the magentocommerce.com website. All right, so with that, let's start out with promotions and discounts, and that is how you can use Magento to provide different pricing for your products and to use that for your promotional activities. There are a couple, as with everything Magento, there are a couple different ways that you can do this. We have the concept of special prices and tier prices that allow you on a product-by-product basis to change the pricing structure, or to change the price and to change the pricing structure both. Then we have catalog price rules in the promotions area inside of your admin panel that allow you to change, to discount prices as people are, and see them as they're browsing the catalog. And finally, we have something called shopping cart price rules that allow you to change the price. This is where coupons can be applied. Coupons do not apply to the special and tier prices or to the catalog price rules, but you can use coupons in conjunction with shopping cart price rules so that when somebody adds something to their cart, you may or may not require them to enter a coupon, but then additional discounting can be applied once items are in the cart. And then you have a lot of power and flexibility in terms of you only apply the discount if another item is also in the cart at the same time, or if the cart value totals exceeds a certain value, like $100 or $50, for instance. So shopping cart price rules my experience in working and running my own e-commerce sites and then working with other merchants is shopping cart price rules is the one tool that we use the most often. But the other two tools are real important in terms of rounding out your set of options. So let's start with those. We'll start with easy and work to, not really hard, but to the more complex and the more powerful. I don't want to necessarily take you to the back end and show you this, but I do want to show you special in tier prices. This is very, very straightforward in Magento. But if you go into your admin panel in the catalog menu in the Manage Products submenu, when you're in the Manage Products area, you pick your product, and then on the left-hand side there's a Price tab. Inside of that Price tab, you will, what we've done up till now, those of you who have been working through some of these examples with me, is we've created products and we've provided them with a straight-up price. In this case, my eggplant has must be a really nice eggplant, but it has a price of $10. But if I set a special price, and then you can indicate the special price from and to date. If you don't provide an end date, it just makes that discounted price the special price for this product or the sale price for this product on an ongoing basis until you change it. But this is what it looks like on the front end of the Magento store over here, where you see the eggplant shown. There's the regular price, a strike through, and then the word special price and the new price. You can change the wording. You can turn it into sale price. You can turn it, into something else. You can use the translation tools to do that, or you can go into you can modify your templates in the PHTML files to edit what this text is. But this is what it usually is by default. And I say by default because how this looks on the front end very much depends on what template you have in place, or what theme you're using, I should say. So if you've modified your own theme, or if you're using a custom theme that you've downloaded from someplace else, it may be represented differently on the front end on your web store. But the other thing that you see here too is this here, buy 10 for $8 each and save 12%. This is an artifact of the tier pricing model that Magento provides to you as well. So back here, when you're editing your products, in addition to special pricing, you can provide tier pricing. And that's what this looks like here. So you see that for what I've done here, I've said for all websites, for all groups, so I haven't restricted this in any fashion. I'll talk about that in a sec. But for quantities of 10 and above, the price per unit will be $8 each. All right? And then that causes Magento to render the tier pricing in this way. And if I add 9 of these to my shopping cart, they'll be priced at the $9. But if I enter 10 or more, they'll be priced at $8 each. So it provides you with, it's another way to provide you with flexibility in terms of the pricing. A lot of you have asked me about things like this with regard to, do you have to set this up using configurable products? And you could, but in point of fact, if it's based on the quantity of items somebody adds to the cart, the tier pricing model is a better approach than making lots of configurable products for your various quantity steps. So with this, what you also see here is that we can apply this for a particular website to only to specific websites. So if you had a business-to-consumer website and also a business-to-business website, you could apply your tier pricing only to the B2B website, for instance. Customer groups as well. You could have customer groups associated with, say, your employees. If you wanted to offer your employees a 50% discount or a 40% discount. Customer groups in the tier pricing only works if the consumer is logged in, because otherwise Magento doesn't know. They're just browsing anonymously, and Magento won't know what customer group they're associated with. So there are some limitations in terms of what that's going to look like in terms of customer groups. But for our purposes, for pricing purposes today, just with regard to setting prices and promotions, I just wanted to show you the quantity-based version of this. All right, so this is what this looks like on the front end when we make these settings. And if Magento could only do this, it's still pretty darn powerful. You can do a lot of your price setting this way, but a lot of you are already pointing out, I can see a few of the questions scroll past even as we talk. You don't want to touch 100 products. To do this one product at a time, occasionally it's totally okay. That's what you need to do because you're setting your prices separately and individually. But a lot of times what you're really doing, what a lot of merchants are doing, are in fact discounting entire categories or subcategories, or a class of products that share an attribute that are all going to be on sale for for seasonal reasons, or because they've been discontinued products, or for a variety of reasons, whatever your business demands. So this is where catalog price rules really come in to save the day. Where with catalog price rules, these are what they allow you to do is to create a rule for when discounting will be applied, so that you don't have to go to each individual product and change the price, but you could say, for all my products that are in the vegetable category, in my online fruit market, in my online farmers market, for instance, or all my products that are in a particular subcategory, or all my products that have the organic attribute set to yes, for instance, so that anything we know about the product, any of those attributes that were created, either the Magento system attributes or custom attributes you've created, can be made eligible to be used with catalog price rules. And what that does is it allows you to have a variety of different triggers that will kick off a price rule for discounting purposes. So totally, this is the absolute ideal tool for putting entire categories on sale or groups of products without having to edit each individually. And this is how it's most often used by almost all of our merchants. There are other things you can do with it, but let's go ahead and look at some of the most common scenarios inside of here. So with that, let me skip out to the front end. For those of you who have been working along with us as part of these summer webinars, we've been, over the course of time, playing with this online farmers market. And on it, I have just a few products. I'm selling a few fruits and a few vegetables. Then I have a few additional categories that wave to what more we could do with this particular website. But on here, let me go ahead and click into the fruits category here. Still waiting. There it is. And there's always a little bit of a delay here. So here's my fruit category. And in it, you can see just a couple fruit. And let's say, though, that it's the end of the season, and I want to go ahead and move my stock. So I'm going to put all my fruit on sale. And I'd like to make them 20 or 25% off across the board for the entire fruit category. So what that's going to look like in the Magento backend is, if we go back to here, this is the admin panel for my store. And the promotion menu here at the top, if you pull that down, you'll see catalog price rules and shopping cart price rules as your two choices. Let's start with those catalog price rules. Now, if I want to create a price rule, a new price rule, just go on up to this button here on the upper right-hand corner for Add New Rule. When you go inside of this particular menu, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. You'll have your basic rule information, which is generally your descriptive information, and its availability status. Conditions, which are the conditions that will trigger the rule to be applied, and then the Actions tab over here, which is what is the rule, what should happen when it's triggered. So here for the rule name, let's go ahead and just call it Kara, and obviously I've created a bunch of rules in the past, 20 off. So I'm going to make it 20% off. Description is, actually this, I don't have to do it in this fashion because the name is just for us. It shows up on the back end. Description, again, just for our references, shows up on the back end. Oops, that's not a percent. So it's going to be 20% off fruit. Its status is inactive, so if I want this to be able to be available on the front end, I have to set it to active. Here's something that a lot of people do wrong when setting up these price rules. By default, even if you have only one website, Magento doesn't have this selected. You have to go ahead and select that. Same thing here with the customer groups. Unless you've done anything with your customer groups and you want to target at only a specific customer group, go ahead and select them all. What this will say is that for everybody, for my main website, the one website I have here, and for anybody who visits the site, we want this rule to apply. You would use these customer groups if you only wanted the shopping cart price rules to kick in for a particular customer group. So if you've had an employee customer group, you could say set it up here, and if your employees were logged in, they would see different pricing. Or members, if you had a member website. But again, the customer groups, Magento is only aware of what group somebody belongs to if they've actually logged in. From date, it's going to start it immediately unless we specify otherwise, but you can see that you can set the timing of these so that you can schedule them to start and end at particular times, which is awesome. And the priority is it'll default to 0, which will be first priority. But if you have rules that you want to have execute before all others or after all others, then you can just set the priority either up or down. The lower numbers execute first, the higher numbers execute later, so you can control if you have multiple price rules operating at the same time, what order they're going to be resolved in. So here we've got just the basic information set for this, and I'll go into the conditions. This is where the real action is. So the conditions are what's going to trigger this rule. And what you see here in this middle panel is the rule builder that Magento uses in both of these, in all of these rule building applications. So you'll see it here in the shopping cart, the catalog price rules. We'll see it again in the shopping cart price rules. Those of you who are Enterprise Edition users, you'll see it in the rule-based product relations. So this will become a very familiar rule builder, this kind of screen. So what you're going to do basically is dynamically build the conditions that will cause this rule to apply. And if we click on the plus, it means to add a condition. So right now, what we're telling it is that if all of these conditions are true, we can change that. If I click on the all, you can see we can change this to all or any. So you can change the Boolean actions here. If I click on true, you can see that we have the option of true or false. So you can have your rules execute in and or situations, and if they match the conditions or if they don't match the conditions. So let's go ahead and click on that plus, and this is where we can dynamically build our first rule. If I click on this particular drop-down to see some of our options here, what you really see here is all of the product attributes. Remember, we're still in the catalog at this point, so people we can't make any actions based on what people have in their cart, but we can make these catalog price rules apply based on the characteristics of the products. So here, these are all of the system attributes, and these are all of the custom attributes that when we created them, we said they could be used for promotions. So I'm going to say, in this case, category, because I want to make all my fruit, and category is a convenient attribute for doing that. So if the category is, again, here's my Boolean choices: is not, equals or greater than, less than, contains, does not contain, is one of, is not one of. So lots of options there in terms of how we would compose this. But we're going to say category is, and if I click on this ellipsis here, again, we can either enter the category ID if we know it, or use this little blue list icon over here. Opens up a chooser that shows you the existing items that fit whatever this attribute is that you chose previously. So if this had been SKU, it would show us a SKU list. If it was something else, it would show us a list that would allow us to pick that. But in my case, I'm going to go ahead and say category is fruits, and I want all the fruits, so I'm going to just leave it at that. All right, so then it looks like category is 3. Magento substituted in its category ID so that we don't have to do that. And let's go ahead and leave it at that. I'm just, at this point, just putting all the fruit on sale. Now I'm going to click into the Actions tab to tell Magento what to do now that it knows that it's supposed to do something with the fruit. So what we get here is a series of drop-downs for Apply, which is to say apply what? What is the discounting that we're going to do, the discount amount, and this stop further rules processing, so that if we had a promotion that if this one is active, no other promotions would apply, this is where you'd set further rules processing to yes. Most of the time we're going to leave this at no, because generally that's how most merchants would use this, but occasionally you have some promotion that's so dramatic that if somebody takes advantage of that, nothing else makes sense to apply there, and you don't want anything accidentally getting added into there. So for apply, here's our options. We can apply a % discount from the original price, a fixed discount from the original price, and then you can work the math backwards. You can do a % discount to a % of the original price or to a fixed amount. I got to tell you, I've almost never used these twos, but they're there for you. And occasionally you may want to do that. But we're just going to do by % of original price, which is 25% off, or by fixed amount would be $25 off, or I guess I'm selling fruit that's really cheap, so maybe $2 off. And here in the discount amount, I can't even remember now whether I said this was going to be a 20 or 25, but we'll go ahead. Now let's make it 20. 25 is a little too generous. I'm so frugal. Anyway, so here's the 20% off discount, and that's what this looks like. So if we go back through the tabs before we save this, there, I did say 20% off. So it's going to be 20% off. It's going to apply if category is 3, which if you remember is my fruit. And it is a % off the original amount by 20%. So over here, I'm going to go up to Save Rule, but you see another option called Save and Apply. This is the only place this happens in Magento. So I want to highlight this for you. If we save the rule, this is where a lot of people have trouble with their shopping cart price rules. We've saved it. It's active. I don't know if you can see that over there at the far right of your screen. But if we went out to the front end, we would not see this discount. Because with the shopping cart, or I'm sorry, the catalog price rules, the one that we've just been working with, it needs to be applied. Like I said, this is the only time you have to do that in Magento. Everything else, if it's active, it applies. But in this case, it's not. I'm not even going to try to explain why that might be the case. There's some convoluting logic around it, but yeah, I don't like it. So with these, just remember you have to apply them. So either do save and apply, or when you come out, once things are on your grid screen like this, go ahead and apply your rules. There was actually an error message at the top, or a warning message that told us that as well. So the admin panel does try to let you know when something hasn't been applied that you might need to apply. So now if I go back out to my front end, here's my fruit category. And if I hit refresh, you can see that all of those items have been discounted by 20%. And if we go into any of the individual pages, we'll see that reflected here in the pricing that's shown on the actual product page as well. So that's how catalog price rules work. You can see that we can do all sorts of additional things here. I'll spend a little bit more time on here because it's going to be exactly the same when we go into the shopping cart price rules. But let's say, for instance, we did not want the fruit baskets to be eligible for this particular discount. Either we're going to apply a different discount to these, or we just are not discounting the fruit baskets, even though they happen to be in the fruit category. So you can progressively refine these rules. So if I go back to my Cara 20 off rule that we just created, we can alter the conditions. So right now we have, it's going to execute if category is fruit, but we can add another condition to this as well. So I'm going to click on this Add Condition button. And in this case, I want to not apply it to the fruit basket. So I'm going to look for, in my list of attributes, I'm going to look for SKU. I like SKUs as opposed to names because they're unique, so I know what I'm working with. So if SKU is not in this case, all right, so we're going to apply it to all fruit except if SKU, except for the ones where the SKU matches the fruit basket. So use the chooser again. Let me go to my fruit basket. Oh, I've forgotten this is configurable product. So I'm going to click all of these. This is the configurable product right here, and then here are the simple products that make it up, the small, medium, and large versions of that. And then instead of is not, because I have 4 SKUs here instead of 1, I need to change this Boolean to is not one of. Okay. So now it's going to apply to fruit, but not to the fruit basket. And if I click Save and Apply, it's been saved, it's been applied, and I go out to the front end. Okay, so if I hit refresh here, you see that now all of my fruit is on sale, but the holiday gift basket isn't. Right? So again, when you're building these rules, the thing to do is at some point you'll just want to get into the Magento backend and pull those drop-downs down and see what some of the options are that you can work with. And there's so many, and there's so many different combinations. So a lot of you are going to start asking me, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I make this promotion? And my answer is always, I don't know. I have to play with it too. And it's very much a dynamic process where you figure out logically what you want to have happen and then work backward into the conditions for your particular store to see how that would work. All right, so we worked through some catalog price rules. Shopping cart price rules, very, very similar in terms of how we interact with them, but there's an additional nuance there that I want to show you. But these are the price rules that you can attach to a coupon, and they don't show up for your customers until they add something to their shopping cart. So that this is the ideal way to provide discounts based on the contents of somebody's shopping cart or in reaction to a coupon code. So real typical scenarios here are, again, 20% off everything, perhaps with a coupon, 20% off a single category with or without a coupon, free shipping for orders over $100, for instance. All of these things would be what you would do with promotions you could offer using the shopping cart price rules. So if we look at what that might look like, let's just go ahead and build just one or two. So if we go into shopping cart price rules in the promotion menu, all right. Rather than build one, let me go ahead and take you into the. No, you guys hate it when I do something ahead of time. I'll just make it real quick. Okay, shopping cart price rules. I clicked on add a rule, and then we get a set of screens that are very similar to what we saw with the catalog price rules. We have an additional tab over here called labels. Not to worry about it too much, but we have the straight up rules information. We have the conditions, what will trigger the rule, and the actions, what is the rule, what discount will be applied. Interestingly, in the case of shopping cart price rules, especially if you're using a coupon, you can often ignore the conditions tab because the coupon itself is the condition. It gets triggered when the coupon is applied. So a lot of times with shopping cart price rules, you're going to start with the rule information and jump straight down into actions because the coupon is the triggering event. So let's do one of those first, and then I'll show you how the actions would be, how you would add actions into these. So for the rule information, let's just make, in this case, Kara, I don't even know what to discount, 10% off one category. It's active. I want to apply it to the main website. I want it to be available to all customer groups. In this case, I can indicate I want to use a coupon or no coupon. I almost always use coupons, so I'm going to go ahead and provide a coupon. But you can see that if I didn't provide a coupon code, then it would just be applied regardless. So the coupon code, we'll call it Kara 20 off. Now here you can indicate uses per coupon and uses per customer. So this would be a way for you to restrict how many times this particular promotion could be used by either globally, just how many times the promotion can be used, period, and how many times each customer can use it. You might have uses per coupon set to 1 if you had actually generated unique coupon codes for individual people. Otherwise, you typically leave this one blank because you want the coupon to be redeemed as much as possible. It's the point of doing the promotion. Uses per customer would allow you to restrict how many times a particular customer could use it, whether it could apply once or multiple times. This one's imperfect because it really is based on IP address, whether the customer can apply it or not, typically. But nevertheless, at least most people don't have an infinite access to infinite IP addresses, and so it will at least have the effect of restricting most people how often they can use it, but you could still use it at home and then again at work or something like that. From to dates allow you to schedule when they start and stop. Priorities, same as before. Indicates the order in which it will be processed if other coupon or if other promotions are active as well. And whether, if you're using the RSS feed, whether it's available as part of your discount RSS feed. So with this 10% off one category, I'm going to go ahead and jump down to the actions because I have a coupon code, the Kara 20 off, and that's going to be the trigger for this particular discount. Actions, much like what we saw in the catalog price rules, but a few more options here. So we can, again, apply percent, fixed amount, from and tos. So I'm going to stick with percent of product price. The discount amount is going to be 20 for 20%. Maximum quantity discount is applied to, so if we wanted to limit how many, limit 10 per customer, 10 per order, something like that, we could do that here. A discount step for buy X, you could use this to do, buy 2, get 1, buy 3, get 2 free kind of things. Apply to shipping amount. In this case, no. We want to apply to the product amount. Free shipping, that's not what we're doing here. Again, and then we've got stop further rules processing. So in this case, down here in the actions, we also have the additional apply rule to shopping cart items that match the following conditions. And this is where we would actually enter the fact that we want it to apply only to products in a particular category. So same sort of builder. In this case, we're going to say category is, and then let's do it not for fruits, but only for apples, okay, inside of there. Now, if I save this, notice I don't have to save and apply. I just save. And in this case, because it's triggered by the coupon, it's not going to accidentally start getting activated. So if I go back out to the front end, and I hit refresh, my Apple price hasn't changed. It's still, $10 with we still have the shopping or the catalog, price rule in place for 20% off there. But if I go ahead and add those apples to my cart, and I apply here in my discount codes, you can see that the unit price is $8. If I apply my Kara 20% off coupon, okay, it was applied. It's not picking up the apples. All right, back out here. 10% off. Conditions, specific coupon. Oh, here I said, all right, it doesn't matter. All right, let me remove that. I'm going to add that to my cart. I'm going to try to apply my coupon again. Well, crud. Did I stop for the rules processing on anything? All right. All right, I don't want to drag you guys through this. I will use this per customer. Did I not allow myself to use it? All right, I used 0 and use this per customer. That shouldn't matter. I mean, it shouldn't have been there, but it shouldn't have actually affected us either. Okay, I'm not getting my discount here, so I'm not going to drag you guys through this. I really do test these things ahead of time, so sorry, I don't know what I've done here. That's the danger of talking and clicking, but I'll fix it and then I'll send it to you in the email after the webinar, so that I can let you know what the steps should have been or where I went wrong with this, so that you can see. So I guess this is probably a good place to highlight the fact that working with these coupons is very much a matter of trial and error. You often do need to go back and forth to get them to work, but they do in fact work. Let me go ahead and show you free shipping. This has got to be the most common promotion that's offered. And free shipping for some sort of shopping cart hurdle, so for orders over $50 or $100. And in this case, this is one I built previously, so let's just go ahead and look at it in the interest of time. But it's called Test Free Ship. Here's my coupon code for Test Free Ship. And the actions that we want to take here is, in this case, we're not discounting the product. We're going to jump down here to apply to shipping amount, and we can actually indicate whether free shipping is active or not. And the answer is either no, or for matching items only, or for shipments with matching items. In this case, I'm not going to restrict it by matching items, but so either one of these options will be fine for this. But what I do want to do is I want to add a condition so that this doesn't kick in unless the shopping cart subtotal equals or is greater than $50. And I just built that by, again, clicking on conditions. And here in the conditions, because it's a shopping cart price rule, we can also get to the product attributes, but we can get to some of the shopping cart information as well. So subtotal here is what we select. Subtotal equals or is greater than 50 is what's going to allow this to kick in. All right, so it's active. Its condition is equals or greater than 50. It's going to give us free shipping. Let's go ahead and save that. And go back on out to the shopping cart. I'm going to cancel the previous coupon. Oh, shoot, I don't remember the name of the coupon. Test Free Ship. So back out to here. Right now, my shopping cart total is $53.60. So we do exceed the $50 limit. And what you can see is that it is currently telling me that based on the fixed rate shipping that I'd set up previously, my shipping rate should be $35. So I enter the coupon code here for Test Free Ship and apply the coupon. For some reason, I've gotten myself into a very weird state where it's telling me it's not valid. All right, I'm just going to remove everything from my shopping cart and start again here. I'm going to add one of the gift baskets, which is $75. So I exceed my $50 shopping cart total. I have a flat rate shipping of $5. So let's try to add that coupon again. Jeez. All right, sorry about this, guys. I've got something conflicting with something else. I've got it set up, I've got it active. All right. Well, rather than take you through this some more, and it's completely sortable. Obviously, I had these working earlier, so I'm just going to stop. I'll email you the correct settings that would have gotten these guys working. But despite the fact that they're not showing up currently on the front end, the principle remains the same. You're just going to build these things one piece at a time. Start out with your basic rules information, get that set up your coupon, set up your actions. In this case, what is the discount that should be applied, and then determine if you need to apply to only certain items, in which case you do it right here in the Actions menu, Actions tab, or if you have some additional conditions on top of that that would trigger the shopping cart price rule to be applied. And then that will get you, do it a little bit at a time so that you can see it working as you go through, and then you'll know where you are in the whole process. All right, the next piece of this is that the next piece that most customers I work with want to do is to be able to set up landing pages for their various promotions. And there are a couple different ways that you can do this inside of Magento. You either using CMS pages, which you'd seen previously if you've been attending some of these webinars. The home page is a CMS page. The About Us page is a CMS page. You can create a CMS page for a particular promotion as well to act as a landing page. You can also use hidden category pages, and you can use we can also use URL rewrites in some cases to create a simplified URL, and a lot of times merchants will do this to create a pseudo landing page for things. So let's look at a couple examples of what that might look like without necessarily having to build them all out at this point. But let's say we have a summer promotion email going out that looks like this. We want to offer free shipping on orders of $100 or more. We are, for some reason, going to offer the nonsensical doing the nonsensical campaign of only orange items. And then we also have a couple links for join us on Facebook and check out our gift baskets. So for an email campaign like this, very typical is that you might have a couple different landing pages that you want to create to support this. One might be a landing page that looks exactly like the email, so that you can have a link saying, if you're having trouble viewing this, click here to see the email. In which case, this is the perfect application for a CMS page, where what we want to do is we really want to make a page that people can link to that would look exactly like this particular email. And if you remember from before, that's just a matter of going to CMS, the CMS menu in the admin panel, and then the Manage Pages submenu there, and inside of there building this particular web page using the graphics from your email, the layout from your email, so that you can link to it from the email. Okay, the next style of landing page that we typically see people wanting to make is, let's say you wanted to have all the items that are available in the email available for sale from a single link. So if you remember that email, it had a shop link over here. And the shop link here could take us just to the home page of my store, but more typically with a promotion of some sort like this, you want to take people either to the specific category you're selling, or you want to create a new category for just the items or related items that you're featuring for this particular promotion. And this is where hidden categories can be used in Magento to create these particular, this style of landing page, where it would look more like this, much more like a traditional category page, but inside of, in the admin panel in Catalog, Manage Categories, you can create a new category. And in the General Information tab, if you scroll to the bottom there, one of your options is whether you want that category to be available in the navigation. And if you set no and say that it shouldn't appear in the top navigation, it will create a category for you that's active that you can link to using the URL key that you provide, but it's not going to show up in your top nav to kind of get in the way there. So that's how this particular style of landing page would be created. Then finally, another style of landing page or another destination link that we have people, merchants often want to create is that, let's say you want to make I'm going to flip back over here to our email. So we have this link here on the email to the gift baskets. And let's say we have a print version of this particular campaign as well. Now the normal URL to the gift baskets page, because it is a product, it's fairly lengthy for people to get down there. What they really would have to type would be whatever our URL is. Let's say we're sliceofheaven.com/fruit/holiday-gift-basket.html, which they can certainly do, but if you're going to put it in a print version of this particular flyer, then you often want a simplified URL so that your consumers, your customers have much less that they have to type to get there. So if we wanted to, say, create the simplified URL of sliceofheaven.com/just-fruit-basket, we would support that using the URL rewrite management tool, and that's in the catalog menu. And as you scroll down there, you'll get to URL rewrite management, and you can set up a new target, excuse me, a target path there. What it is that people are a request path, in this case fruit basket, and then target it to this longer URL of fruit/holiday-gift-basket.html, and that will create this simplified URL for you. So depending on what you want to accomplish, what kind of landing page or what kind of destination link you're setting up, you would do it in a variety of different ways in Magento. But those are at least the methods that are most commonly used and supported, and where you would go to be able to activate and use those. All right, real quick, because this is a topic in its own right with regard to SEO, I just want to show you, not necessarily try to cover all the ground in terms of SEO best practices. I wish I could, but I've actually been in the middle of, I've seen fistfights between SEO experts about one method versus another method for doing SEO. And so, you know, without weighing into necessarily what's best or what the secret sauce is in terms of how Google's going to rate you up or down, or Bing is going to operate with your keywords and your descriptions and your meta tags. Let me just show you where the tools are inside of Magento. And then based on your experience, the advice that you're getting from your SEO experts, at least you'll know where it is that you can activate these things. Some of you have seen this particular page previously, but there are a couple of configuration settings that Magento has that allows you to control the URL formation. And these are some early decisions that you should make before your site ever gets crawled, because if you change these later, then it does have the effect of breaking your URLs. So just real quickly, to show you where these are, you can get rid of the index.php, those of you who still have index.php hanging out in your URL and don't like it there. And then allowing for these SEF, search engine friendly URLs, to be created. And that's in the system configuration web tab. There's an SEO panel where you can turn on URL rewrites. And by doing that, there's a little bit of Unix. If it doesn't work when you turn it on, there's a little bit of Unix stuff that you need to do, so check with your sysadmin. But if everything's set up correctly on the Unix side, when you turn this on in your admin panel, refresh your cache, your URLs should be cleaned up without that index.php, and then the additional rewrites can happen too. If you have multiple stores, you can decide if the store code should be part of the URL. And then you can set how the product and category URLs are formed, so that this is where, if you have store code on or off, this is where the store code would appear. If you tell Magento to use the category as part of the product URL, this is where this would appear. Here's, say, the product name. And then you can tell Magento whether you want the .html suffix or not at the end of category and product URLs. I've heard people recommend both ways. Honestly, I don't know which is better. But you have the option to be able to set that up any way you want. So here's where some of that stuff is inside of the Magento admin panel. It's really boring to try to go to the admin panel and show you different config settings, so I just did a couple screenshots. Hopefully they're large enough for you to be able to read. But this is the system configuration menu, and it's the web tab. And inside of here you can see your URL options, where you can add the store code to the URLs. Redirect to base URL if requested URL doesn't match it is just a way to avoid 404s. It takes people back to the home page instead. And here's that use web server rewrites that will, if you enable it, will get rid of the index.php for you. And the base URL is the base URL that you set. The next important tab that we just talked about here is, this is still in system configuration, moving down from where we were before, the catalog tab. And with regard to SEO, some of these pieces are spread out all over the place, which is why I wanted to pull these together in one place for you guys. So this is where you can, in the search engine optimizations panel inside of here, is where you can set the product URL suffix, whether you use the .html or not, whether the category path is part of a product URL. So when you get to carrots, if it also says vegetables in there, or whether it doesn't. Page title separator. If you happen to set the page suffix or prefix, this would separate each of those components one from another. I'll show you the suffix and prefix in a sec. And canonical link for categories and products excuse me, addresses some of the problems with duplicate content. You know, on a Magento site, on any e-commerce site, really, there are so many different ways to get to a product page. You can go straight down the nav. You can, if you have layered navigation selected, each of those different filters will also get you down to the same product page. So eventually you wind up having a lot of duplicate content that's gotten crawled in a variety of different ways that has different URLs. So what setting the canonical link to the meta categories and products does is it allows you to tell the Google search engine and other search engines that use it as a directive, or at least as a strong hint, that they can that the link, that the category name alone is the canonical link. So any other duplicate content that gets you to that same page will be swapped. They'll use the canonical link. Same thing with the products. No matter how you got there, no matter how big the URL string gets, just use the product name as the canonical link to get there. Okay, so a lot of power in being able to set those things straight up like this. So the other thing that those are the defaults, and it kind of controls the default behavior that you're going to be able to get. But you can also set what's called the meta information. It shows up in the actual HTML code that's produced by your page and inside of the head tag, which means it's hidden from view for the most part, but it's what the search engines use for when they crawl and index websites in addition to the content of the page. And it allows you to control the title that appears here at the very top. And then what we saw with some of those defaults is how this URL would be created. So those of you who've worked with Magento at all have seen, as you've dealt with categories or products or your CMS pages, that every single one of them has a tab called Meta, which is where you can set the meta title, the keywords, and the descriptions that show up in the HTML code for that individual entity. Or in the case of categories, it doesn't have a separate tab, but on the general information tab, as you scroll down, you see page title, keywords, and description, where that meta information is housed. So for products, or for categories, products, and CMS pages, you can set these things on an individual page-by-page basis, and you should absolutely do that. But Magento doesn't use that information on all pages, or it doesn't make that information available to you on all pages. Some of you remember this particular diagram from before. Underlying these big old blocks is a generic sitemap for a default Magento store, where we have a home page, and then we have the categories and the catalog information. We have checkout, catalog search, the customer account information area, and a variety of CMS pages as you build them out. So Magento allows you to override or to set the meta information for the CMS and the catalog blocks. So any of the pages that are controlled or created by these blocks. The customer, the account information, the login, the account dashboard, the search results, for instance, the contact form, and all the checkout pages, Magento is just going to use what you provide as the default meta information. And so these things, a lot of times you don't want search engines to crawl this information anyway because it's behind a login, or it's, in the case of catalog search, it's, again would create way more duplicate content than you want to have happen. But nevertheless, these pages do occasionally get picked up, and they also get seen by your customers. And so the place to set the default information for what shows up is inside of the System Configuration Design tab. All right, so this will allow you to, if I go ahead and click down to here, this is what this looks like. Again, we're in the System menu, in the Configuration submenu, the Design tab over there on the left. And in the HTML panel there, if I open it up like I have in this particular screenshot, you can see that you can set the default title, title prefix and suffix, which is the information that's tacked on to the beginning and end of every page title. A lot of companies use it to put the brand name in their page titles. Default description is that meta description that shows up inside of the HTML. Default keywords, again, meta keywords inside of the HTML head tag. And the default robots directive there, index follow, is generally what you want for a live store. You may set that to no index, no follow, for instance, is one of the choices when you're in development and you don't want Google coming on over and indexing your website. All right, but because these do show up on some pages, make sure you take a trip over here to the System Configuration Design tab. I've seen any number of live Magento stores where when I go through them deeply enough, I actually see Magento Commerce and I see Magento Variant e-commerce inside of the actual code. And so, you really don't want that. You want your name, you want your keywords. And this is an easy one to forget. All right, things that we haven't been able to touch on today, just because of time, that are appropriately part of marketing and promotions, but we have some good resources online, so I'm going to direct you to those instead. Using Google Base, there's a great screencast out there on the knowledge base and on integrating Google Base into Magento, and it goes through the whole process. So if you just go ahead and watch that, you'll get a very good sense of how it is that you can create a product feed out to Google Base very easily. With regard to newsletters, we have so many merchants who don't use the Magento newsletter capability. Instead, they have a third party like Constant Contact or someplace like that sending out their newsletters, or they use self-service service like MailChimp. So though Magento has built-in email sending and newsletter sending capabilities, since only a relatively small percentage of our merchants wind up using it in lieu of their other tools, I'm just going to go ahead and direct you to a couple different tutorials and some of the wiki information about newsletters as a good starting point. And then if you have additional questions or follow-up, we can take that offline. So that was a quick buzz through. Remember, I know I owe you an explanation of why those shopping cart price rules weren't working, and I can't apologize enough for that. Like I said, I really do test these things out, but goodness knows what happened there. But let me go ahead and go through a few of your questions. We have time for just a couple. Somebody asked, would it be possible to get a copy of these slides after? Yes, absolutely. I usually post them about 24 hours afterward. It takes me just a little while to get back to it and get everything posted. So by tomorrow, they should be available on the Magento Commerce website. What options make hidden categories not visible on the front end? Okay, real quick. Let's go ahead and look at that. I see that question. Oops, I see that question a couple times. So let's go ahead and go into here really quickly. Here's catalog, manage categories. And if I wanted to create a hidden category, I go ahead and I'm going to add subcategory here. And I'm in a new category. I provide my category name like summer orange email. You need to set it to is active because we do want it to be live, that people should be able to get to it. But if I scroll down here, remember I am in Magento version 1.4. So if you're using one of the older 1.3s or before, this option won't necessarily be here, but this is included in navigation menu. And it's set by default to yes, so it shows up in the nav by default. But if we set that to no and save it and refresh on the front end, this category, though live, won't show up in the navigation, but we would be able to link to it by just going to our URL and then summer-orange-email. So that's how that would work. Somebody asked, would these hidden categories be included in the sitemap? No. Also by not being included in the navigation, they're also excluded from the sitemap. Oh, somebody tells me the Apple coupon was actually working, but the discount was only showing at the bottom of the checkout page. My bad. Could well be the case. All right. And I could be mistyping the coupon name, yes. Is there some caching in Magento that keeps these changes from applying? Probably with regard to the coupons that I was trying to set. It could well be. I've turned caching off, but a lot of times, even when I've done that, I'll often go ahead and refresh the cache when I'm working with coupons just to flush that out. I didn't want to take the time to do that. In shopping cart price rules, can you add rules based on the customer shipping address or payment method, or both? Yes, you can. In that case, because if you want to set a shopping cart price rule that acts on information that you don't know until the customer starts the checkout process, you usually have to do something like that without a coupon code so that it will kick in during the course of the checkout process. If you have a customer, a returning customer who logs in, then you actually do have that information about the person when they're still on the cart page, and a coupon code could be applied. But if it's an unlogged in user and you still want that to a promotion based on either their shipping address or their payment method to be applied, you need to do it without a coupon code, because remember when I kept trying to apply that one coupon code, it kept telling me it wasn't applicable, it couldn't be applied. They would get that message if they tried to do that, and Magento didn't know that information about them. So yes, you can definitely do that. You just have to. A couple of people have told me that I was mistyping the coupon code. I forgot the dash. Totally possible. Like I said, that's my problem with talking and typing at the same time. Okay, let me see. All right, lots of guidance on what I was doing wrong, so thank you very much. Looking for some additional questions. So people are asking whether coupon codes are case sensitive, and in fact they are. And as a best practice, what I usually recommend to people is that you create them you always create them all uppercase or all lowercase, or you will often create two coupon codes. One is the all uppercase and one is the all lowercase version. Or you can change your theme to force everything into uppercase so that it gets submitted that way. Just because consumers really do mix cases or they don't pay attention to the case, but the coupon codes are in fact case sensitive. So that's always another thing to watch for when you set them up. Another thing when you set them up, if you are using uppercase, consumers are very bad at understanding the difference between a 0 and an O. So I avoid coupon codes that have both of those in them, or that it's not clear which is which. All right. Look, based on the time, let's go ahead and wind this up for now, but you can go ahead and send me some additional questions or more insight into what I was doing wrong on those coupon codes. That's fine too, via email. I'm Kara@magento.com, and then I'll go ahead and send you a summary of what should have happened there so that you can see. And hopefully it's given you a little bit of more understanding of some of the different things that you can do with Magento outside of just we've looked at products and categories and very traditional stuff like that, but how you can reuse those same concepts to support your marketing campaigns and some of your marketing programs. So thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing many of you guys on Thursday as well. All right.